Natsume directed me to the same autopsy room as always. It was clean as a whistle, so much that you'd never think this woman cut up corpses in here on a regular basis.
ほな、今回の事件、最初から話しましょうか。
ええ、お願いします。
せやね。先月の20日過ぎから都内にあるいくつかの家庭で購入した鶏卵の中から人肉が出てくるっちゅう事件が頻発したんですわ。
How is that possible?
確か新聞発表では鶏卵から出たとは書かれていませんでしたよね。
The only thing the paper had said was that flesh believed human in origin, but found scattered in various places.
正直に書いたら大変なことになりますやろ。うち
True.
うち卵焼きも作れなくなります
Yeah,
も
we
ん。
found a bunch of body parts and eggs. Well, I guess no one's buying eggs for the foreseeable future.
まあ余計な混乱を招くでしょうね。
そういうことやね。ほいでもって都内で見つかった人肉入り卵は
Damn.
先月だけでおよそ200個出ておりますね。
そんなにあったんですか。
ほいでも人一人分には全然足りまへんえ。だいたい卵1個が60から70グラムやさかい、お肉詰めたところで15キロ程度やもん。
Total stuff may add up to about 15 kilograms. How obviously I can tell that's not a lot of weight, but also my American brain can't process how much that is in weight. Okay, it's roughly a 1-to-2 ratio. So yeah, it's only about 33 pounds. Okay. Yeah, no, that's that ain't shit.
つまり全部は発見されていないのですか。
Yeah, if shit. If 200 eggs only gives you about 30 pounds, and like, if we're erring on the low side here, we're looking for like, what, a female teenager in Japan's probably what, like, in the low hundreds, like 100 something, 105, you know, somewhere around there, 110, I don't know. But just guessing that, we're gonna need about what, 3 times the amount we've gotten, so like another 4 to 500 eggs, just to make one total person. And that's if there's only one victim that, yo, this person's chopping up.
かもしれまへんな。切り刻まれとりますから重さで測るしかありまへんのや。1人か2人かもっとぎょうさんおるのかもわかりまへん。
身元などは分かっていないのですか。
昨日時坂藩が見つけたのは指先が残っとったさかい、調べるのは簡単やった。加納智子、都内の女学生や。
また女学生ですか。数日前ですか。
That didn't add up. So in other words,
つまり先月見つかっとるのはこの子とちゃうっちゅうことや、ね。
so there's absolutely more. Oh, Jesus.
他に行方不明者は。
ぎょうさんおります。絞りようがありまへん。
Natsume shrugged.
先月のお肉は見つかった時にはすでに腐っとったし、わかりやすい部位もあらしまへんかったからな。
何ですか。
見つかったのはほとんどが筋肉と骨なんよ。内臓の類は一切出ておりまへんのや。
手足のみ。それは先月の。
あっちのは犯人のお家の庭に埋められとった腕も含めて。
そうですか。
Still, it bugged me all the same. Maybe because it was the second case in a row involving the dismemberment of limbs.
しかし、どこまでも手間のかかることをしとりますな。
Natsume casually grabbed an eggshell off a steel tray.
わざわざ卵の中にお肉詰めとるんですから。
そんなことできるんですか。
Thank you, Reiji. That's what I would like to know. Please inform me.
きれいに卵を割ってお肉詰めて元通りに貼り合わせたんちゃいます？
Oh, this.
ほら、この底んとこに貼り合わせたような跡
Just
があ
as
りま
easy
す
as
ね。
that, huh? Just a bit of glue. Just a bit of glue. You just gotta break it nicely and use a bit of glue, and there you go. Fuck. All right. I looked where she indicated to find there was indeed a round line that made it look like the egg had been gouged.
こんなに手間のかかることをして 何か意味があるんですかね。
うちみたいな真面目な一般市民には分からへん意味があるんとちゃいます？
Average Jane? Natsume? Hell no.
愉快犯とも考えにくいからな。
そこら辺は目下調査中だ。
The door swung open, revealing Ozumi.
おや、大隅藩。おそうおましたな。
上司を連れてきたんでね。
Ozumi grimaced even as he spat out those words.
上司？
警察庁から派遣された管理官殿だよ。
そんなところから来たって現場が混乱するだけじゃないのか？
Too many cooks spoil the broth and all.
それはご挨拶ですね、先輩。
Bumpa's voice flooded the room. Ozumi glowered.
なんや、ヤギ沼藩やあらしまへんか。
Natsume spoke up when she saw the newcomer.
どうもご無沙汰しています、高城先生。
The man condescendingly bowed to her. A moment later, he glanced at me out of the corner of his eye.
あんた、時坂レイジ。
あ
あんたのこと聞いてるよ。
あ、そうか。
I finally remembered him. This was Ryochi Yaganuma, an inspector who joined the Ueno Police Department not too long after I resigned. Didn't know he'd made commissioner at the NPA, though.
警察庁創設時に長官からぜひにと頼まれてね。近々警視正になる予定なんですよ。まあ僕のような優秀な人間は
Oh
大変なん
God,
で
you
す
were
よ。
fucking insufferable. No wonder Ozumi can't stand your fucking guts. I shall be appointed senior superintendent not too long from now. A heavy crown, to be sure, but befitting of my superb talents, if I do say so myself. Bro, you're gonna end up the next fucking victim if you don't watch yourself, bitch.
だったらこないとこに来とらんで、本部でふんぞり返ってるええんちゃいます？
兵隊の直接指導も上官の役割ですよ。だから無関係なはずなのにこそこそと嗅ぎ回っているやつをこんなところまで見に来たんですよ。
ブブ漬けでもいかがどす？
Seemed Natsume really didn't like this guy.
ま、僕も暇じゃないのでね。失礼しますよ。ああ、時坂先輩。
He's like, stay away from my fucking case, bitch.
なんだ？
くれぐれも余計な真似はしないでくださいね。行くぞ、魚住。
Ozumi clicked his tongue and left with Yaganuma.
夏目さん、あいつが嫌いなんですか？
前にな、ヤギ沼藩がしゅうちゃんいじめとったさかい、ちょっとな。塩まいておきましょうか。
いや、そこまでしなくてもいいと思いますけど。
I left the Takashiro clinic and proceeded to board the Shinjuku line to visit Oba Girls Academy. First order of business was reporting to Psyche. The school was so quiet that you never would have believed there had been so much ruckus yesterday. Which was only natural, of course, seeing how it was still spring break and all. Besides, even if they were here, the ladies of Oba Girls Academy wouldn't be making any fuss over the whole incident, knowing them.
失礼します。佐伯教頭。
I greeted Psyche as soon as I entered the staff room.
おはようございます、時坂先生。
昨日の件の報告にやってまいりました。
そうですか。
Psyche glanced at the floor. Probably already pieced the rest together.
被害者は加納智子というよその学生だったそうですが。
でしょうね。
Psyche's head was clearly in the clouds.
教頭先生。
Psyche looked up when I called to him and again in a questioning tone.
すみません。少々昔のことを思い出していましてね。
昔？
ええ。昨日訪ねられましたでしょう。
ええ。それが何か？
実は彼と面識はあるのです。あまり良い思い出ではないので言いませんでしたが。
いえ、無理におっしゃらなくても結構ですよ。
Though I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious. Still, badgering others for all the details of their lives wasn't something I particularly enjoyed.
私と彼は戦前芸術界で将来を嘱望されていました。ですが私は世当たりが下手だったのでしょうね。気づいた時にはその世界を追放されていました。
It's like he bashfully scratched his head.
もっとも彼とはその程度のつながりしかありませんよ。彼がモデルの女性と結婚された際、式にも呼ばれませんでしたからね。
そうでしたか。
Small world, huh?
ありがとうございました。
いえ、このくらいのことでしたら構いません。
There were hints of sorrow in his voice. Right after I left the staff room and was making my way to the exit,
だからだと思うのよ。
I heard Nene in the infirmary. It sounded like she was on the phone. I went in to find Nene facing her desk. She slammed the receiver down when she saw me.
いたのね、時坂先生。
いや、今来たところですよ。
I lied out of my ass. Nene raised an eyebrow and regarded me cautiously. She probably didn't believe me. Though that said, I didn't have any idea what she'd been talking about. Was it something she didn't want others overhearing?
お休みなのに出勤ですか？
ちょっと教頭に用件があったのでね。
そう。
There were documents scattered across her desk. Had she been looking into something? I noticed the name Toko Kuchiki written on the top one.
それは？
探し物をしていたら散らかっちゃったのよ。
Nene started reorganizing her documents. Something smells fishy. It's like she's trying to hide something. Question is, do I confront her about it, or do I leave her be? I think we, don't ask anything. I think we just leave her be, let her do her thing. I decided it was best just to leave her be. It wasn't like there was any point asking about stuff unrelated to my cases. Before long, Nene finished putting away the documents, leaving her desk spotless.
まだ何かご用でも。
いえ、特には。それでは失礼します。
Now what? Great question, bud. That commissioner had made it perfectly clear that I wasn't to be off rampaging like a loose cannon when it came to the case. Not that his warnings really fazed me. I'd just go to the MPD later and sort things out with them. I'd also discovered an unexpected connection between Psyche and Shinzo Mamiya, so maybe digging deeper into that would be worth it.
やっほ先生。
In that case, maybe going to the museum in Ueno and asking Stella was the best move.
おーい、先生。
But then, there's still the problem of how hard it was to get her to understand me.
無視するんじゃなかと。
人が考え事をしている時に邪魔するなよ。
Reluctantly, I finally humored Tojiko.
先生意地悪だ。
わかったよ。で、なんか用か？
先生はこれから捜査やるんでしょ？
いや、そのつもりはないぞ。
I wasn't actually lying.
なんでそう？
なんでと言われてもな。
Couldn't blame me for being honest, could she?
そんなのつまんないでしょ？
つまるつまらんの問題じゃないだろう。で、
そりゃついていって。
却下だ。
どうしてそう？
当たり前だろう。
Tojiko shot me a hateful glare, which I reciprocated with a small poke to the forehead.
いいもん、勝手についてくから。
だから捜査はしないって言ってるだろう。
そう言っておきながら行くつもりなんでしょ。
勝手にしてくれ。
勝手にするよ。
Didn't foresee any issues with her tagging along to the museum, at least. All I had to do was find a way to ditch her afterward.
ところでさ、先生。
まだ何かあるのか？
あるんだな、それが。今度私の本が出るって言ったでしょ？
そういや、そんなことも言ってたな。
Though she still hadn't told me the title yet.
それでね、なんかお祝いしてよ。
なんで俺が？
いいでしょ？私だって頑張ったんだからさ。
腕を引っ張るな。やれ。
本当？期待してるからね。
Tojiko grabbed my sleeve and swung me around.
服が伸びるからやめてくれないか。
ちゃんと捜査に連れて行ってくれるなら話してあげる。
だから捜査なんてしないと。
I love those two. I arrived at Ueno with Tojiko in tow. For reasons I couldn't fathom, I was ultimately saddled with covering her rail fare.
ありがとね、先生。
まったく仕方ないやつだな。
だって上野まで来るなんて思わなかったんだもん。
だったら来なきゃよかっただろうに。
いいでしょ、減るもんじゃないんだしさ。
財布の中身は確実に減ったけどな。
I knew grousing about it wasn't going to change anything. But at this rate, I could tell I was going to get roped into paying her museum fare as well, a fact as immutable as the earth being round. I entered the museum after paying for both our tickets. Fortunately, even Tojiko knew to mind her manners in here. I scoured around and found Stella in no time flat.
やあ、ステラ。
Stella stared at me quizzically.
レイジ？
ようやく覚えてくれたか。君は佐伯時夫という芸術家を知っているかな？
佐伯時夫。
Stella stared at the ceiling in contemplation for a short while before finally speaking up like something had come to mind.
追放された権力争い
Exiled, goddamn.
何か負けていなくなった
Stella's sentences came out as barely connected fragments.
権力争い
Stella nodded.
心臓強い人でも弱い人
それはどういう意味だい？
誰も寄せつけない強さ誰も寄せつけない弱さ孤独な人
Interesting.
ねえこの人大丈夫なの
Shut up. Tochiko whispered as she watched on.
大丈夫だよ。それでステラ、他に何か知らないかな？
消えた女の子5年か6年前佐伯先生の娘さん
Oh? 5 or 6 years ago. Wait.
それは何か事件に巻き込まれたのかい？
あまり知らない
そうか。ありがとう。
That's a stunning development. I placed it during the same time frame as the Rokushiki case and those serial killings in Ueno. Well, I had no idea if my hunch was right. I was definitely curious. You can't just go ask the dude. Tochiko and I left the museum.
次はどこ行くの
次は少しここで待つぞ。
何を
連絡しておいたからそろそろ来るはずだが。
I saw a familiar face trotting over from the station.
ゆかりん
Right. I'd called Yukari when Tochiko wasn't looking. Hell yeah.
兄さん自分でできないからといってわざわざ呼び出さないでください
Yukari sounded miffed.
悪いな。
さあ行きますよつづり子あのさ全然話が見えないんだけど
Tochiko looked back and forth between us.
今度パーティーをするのでしょその準備ですよあそうだった
頑張れよ、トジコ。
裏切り者
Yukari dragged Tochiko away. Much as I felt bad for her, I couldn't have her following me to my next destination. Not in a million years would I have lived that down otherwise. Took the subway to Toronomon and headed for Sakuradamon. The overbearing building on the corner was the MPD, my former workplace. No way in hell I could have taken Tochiko here. Several uniformed cops were standing on guard nearby. I made my way straight towards CID Section 1 as if I still worked there.
あれ、時坂さんじゃない。
An inspector I recognized from last month's case greeted me.
魚住はいるかい？
ああ、魚住巡査部長でしたら今聞き込みに出ていますよ。
そうか。ありがとう。
Guess I should have called ahead.
これは先輩じゃないですか。
Did my best to fight the urge to groan as I turned to face the owner of that snooty voice. I did not fight my urge.
八木沼管理官か。
一般人であるはずの時坂先輩がなぜここにいるんですか？
ちょっと調べたいことがあってね。
バラバラのことでしたら今朝から何も変わってはいませんよ。
ああ、そのこともあったんだが。
昔の？そんなの今回の件には関係ないことでしょ？
ああ、そうだな。
Didn't need his permission. My superior from back then was no longer here, unfortunately, but I'd hoped I'd find a familiar face from those days if I snooped around.
困るんですよ先輩。元刑事だからってここで好き勝手されるわけにはいかないんですよ。
心配しなくても君に迷惑はかけないさ。
十分迷惑なんですよ。
5、6年前の事件だよ。六式事件をはじめとした。
I was involved in that case back then, but I didn't remember much in light of the personal tragedy that sent my life straight off the rails at the end of it. Still, whatever incident had befallen Psyche's daughter had likely been around that period.
六式事件？ああ、僕がまだ大学にいた頃のですね。相当イカれた事件。
黙っていてくれないか。
I had no time for his games.
ああ、怖い。わかりましたよ。おい君、ちょっと資料室まで行ってきたまえ。
Yaginuma smirked condescendingly as he issued orders to a nearby inspector.
いいか、八木沼。
何ですか？
そんなふざけた態度で仕事をしていると。
僕は先輩とは違いますからね。そんなヘマはしませんよ。ま、 偉大な大先輩の訓示として受け取っておきましょう。
Didn't feel like saying another word to him. It wasn't long before the inspector returned with the documents in hand.
これが当時あった事件の資料です。
ああ、
Put them on a desk and flipped through the information I was after, the data on the victims. The name Yukiko Miyama caught my eye. However, I already knew everything there was to know about her murder, so there was no need to dig into it again. It was with that thought in mind I turned to the next page. Wait, hold up. What did you say your name was? Miyama, okay. My ass almost read that as Mamiya. I was like, I got some letters mixed around. I'm like, wait, her last name was Mamiya? Isn't that? No, Miyama. Okay.
最近
According to the file, she died on February 3rd, making her the third victim of the Rokushiki case. She was Tokyo Psyche's second daughter. I knew it. It seems she got pregnant while attending Open Girls Academy and went to see Makoto Rokushiki about it, unable to bring herself to tell her parents. No wonder Mr. Psyche wanted to hire me to protect the students. Now it all made sense. That said, it didn't look like she had any connection with Shinzo Mamiya.
何かわかりましたか?
A slightly ticked Yaganuma interrupted my train of thought.
いや、当然のことながら今回の事件とは何の関連もないことが分かって。
それじゃ困るんですよ。先輩にはぜひ今回の事件を解決してもらわなくてはなりませんからね。
おや、余計なことをするなと聞いていたんだがね。
信じがたいことに、現場の連中は先輩にも捜査に協力してもらいたいそうなんですよ。
Yaganuma flashed a malicious smile.
まあ、何にせよ事件が解決すれば、すべて管理官である僕の手柄ですからね。
ああ、そんなもんはくれてやるよ。
I wasn't interested in that sort of glory.
よろしく頼みますよ、先輩。
Ugh. Yaganuma tapped me on the shoulder, his smirk never once leaving his lips. Took the Chuo line from Tokyo Station to Kichijoji. Before long, I bumped into a familiar face there. It was none other than Fumiya Kachiki. He was walking with his eyes trained on the ground, musing over something or another.
口木さん、
え、ああ、時坂先生でしたか。
Fumiya looked up in surprise.
珍しいですね。こんなところで会うなんて。
ええ、もともと近所の方だけ見ている小さなところですから。
Fumiya flashed me a tender smile.
気晴らしに散歩をしていたのですが、さすがに普段から運動していないと疲れますね。
普段からお疲れなんじゃないですか。
医者の不養生ですね。
He seemed down.
何かあったんですか。
いえ、そういうわけではないんですが、時坂先生ならば何か知っているかもしれませんね。
Maybe so. Me?
最近、トウコちゃんの様子がおかしいんですよ。以前ほど話さなくなりましてね。思春期だからという様子でもないようなんです。
Fumiya's account gave me an idea of what had happened. Toko discovered the Kachikis were her adopted family. Maybe she was confused to learn that the people she believed to be her family were, in fact, total strangers. I think I might need to have a talk with Fumiya and Chizuru about
彼
this.
女、トウコさんは今家におられますか。
いいえ、今は出かけているはずです。
そうですか。お話ししておきたいことがあります。
ええ、ぜひお越しください。
Fumiya nodded, blood draining from his already pallid face as if he'd realized what I was getting at. Fumiya accompanied me back to the Kachiki residence.
僕は診療所にいますので。
My companion stalked off after leaving me with those words. I waited at the front door for quite some time. The surrounding trees were practically colorless, as if somehow this house were a snow globe still entrapped in winter.
お待たせいたしました。どうぞ。
Eventually, the front door opened, revealing
お
Chizuru.
邪魔します。
I was taken to the living room where I had a seat where I had a seat on a floor cushion. Coffee and a sponge cake were set on the table.
いつぞやかは、トウコが大変お世話になってしまいまして。
ああ、いえ、いいんですよ。
I panicked upon seeing Chizuru bowing her head so low that it could almost be mistaken for genuflecting. Okay. Google, what the fuck does that mean? Genuflect. Lower one's body briefly by bending one knee to the ground, typically in worship. Okay. So she's bowing so low, it almost looks like she's taking a knee. Gotcha. Who the fuck's is genuflecting? I mean, I guess this takes place in the 50s, or maybe that's a word, but fucking genuflecting. She's probably referring to my and Toko's little sojourn to Karashiki.
今日はお話があるとのことでしたが、一体どんな？
ええ、トウコさんのことなのですが、以前相談に訪れまして、失礼ですが、彼女はあなたの実のお子さんではありませんね。
Chizuru gasped. However, that sound rang not with shock, but with resignation.
それはあの子から聞いたのですか？
ええ、彼女は自分で調べたようです。
そうですか。
Chizuru heaved a sigh.
やはり隠し事はできないのですね。
では、やは
いつかきちんと告げるつもりでした。いいえ、できることならば。
Chizuru began her confession, her milky white skin growing pallid.
あの子は私が思っていたよりも。
り、おそらく家族のちょっとした態度や言動で感づいたのでしょうね。あの年頃は我々大人が思っているよりも
かもしれませんね。
Her voice sounded hushed and defeated.
私たちは信用されていなかったのでしょうか。
おそらく彼女は余計な気を使わせたくなかったんだと思いますよ。
Chizuru simply hung her head in silence. I took a sip of my coffee, but enough it seemed the Kichikis used the same beans we did.
こちらでも調べはしたのですが、彼女がどこから養子に出されたのか。
それは申し訳ありません。私たちも知らされていないのです。
知らされていない。
トウコがここへ来たのは戦争が終わってすぐのことですから。
そうですか。
I couldn't tell if she was being honest with me. Still, I knew it'd be best not to pry any further. Thus, I decided I'd just ask one more question and be on my way.
ああ、そうそう。間宮心臓という芸術家をご存知ですか？
間宮心臓。いいえ、存じていませんが。
Chizuru cocked her head in confusion, much to my lack of surprise.
いえ、以前美術館で彼女が興味を示していたことがありましたから。
そうですか。
すみません。関係のない話でしたね。
いえ。
とりあえず今日お話ししたことは聞かなかったことにしていただけると助かります。
私は結局あの子の母親にはなれなかったのですね。
それは違いますよ。彼女はあなたを母親だと認めているはずです。
ええ、そうですね。難しいかもしれませんが。
I felt a bit guilty when Chizuru muttered that. It made me question whether I had accomplished anything other than throwing this family into disarray.
余計なことをしてしまい申し訳ありません。
And yet, all I could do for the time being was apologize. It was evening by the time I left Kichiki residence. Where to? I'm thinking we go see our homegirl at Moonworld.
いらっしゃい、時坂くん。
Kyoko greeted me as soon as I stepped into Moonworld.
ああ、京子、コーヒーを。
However, the rest of that sentence died in my throat when I caught sight of who was sitting at the furthest table. It was Toko. She was sipping coffee while reading a book.
おや？
Toko looked up, our eyes meeting.
珍しいところであったな。
待ち合わせをしているんだよ。
なるほどね。
Took the counter seat closest to Toko. Even I was rude enough to sit with a girl who was waiting for someone.
時坂くん、私のお店でお客様を口説いちゃダメよ。
口説いてるわけじゃないぞ。
トウコちゃん、気をつけるのよ。こういう男には特に。はい、分かっています。
いや、待ってくれ。京子、知り合いなのか？
ええ、もちろん。うちの常連よ。
I wonder if family had the same kind of coffee as us then.
ここのお店は雰囲気がいいからね。まさか二人が知り合いだったとはね。
仕事の関係で知り合ったんだよ。いいからコーヒーを入れてくれよ。
はいはい、ごゆっくり。
Kyoko smiled as she got back to work. I could feel a migraine coming to ambush me.
いらっしゃいませ。
A bunch of new customers waltzed through the door.
あ、ようやく来たね。
Toko called out to one of them. Curious about who she was meeting, I turned toward the entrance myself.
時坂先生
Toko was rooted in place, eyeing me suspiciously.
やあ水原さん、体の方はもういいのかい？
ええうちにまで来ていただいたようでご心配をおかけしました
God damn. I detected some venom in her voice. Detected it. God, I think she made it very well known there's venom in there. God damn. Props to the voice actress, because goddamn, I've never heard such a statement voiced with so much hate. Fucking, I heard you came by my house to visit, so I suppose you truly were worried. If you just read that line without hearing the voice, you probably wouldn't think much of it. And even just followed by, like, if you were just reading this, no voice acting, it's like, you saw that line, then he follows it up with, I detected some venom in her voice. You wouldn't really know just how much hate she spit that out with. Like, let me hear that again.
ええうちにまで来ていただいたようでご心配をおかけしました
Like, god damn, there's more than venom in her voice. Like, oh, there's like pure malice in the way she said that. Like, god damn. Fuck.
行きましょうトウコそうだね
Toko got up.
それではね先生また今度
ああ、気をつけてな。
Toko clung to Toko's arm and left the cafe.
振られたのかしら
バカ、そんなんじゃないよ。
Goko had come back with a cup of coffee in hand.
なんだよ。
なんでもないわい
She chuckled as she got back to work. Ugh, that settles it. I'm out of here the second I finish my coffee. Fair enough. Now let's go all the way back to the museum, because fucking why not? Why not? I returned to Ueno, though I didn't really have much of a reason to be there, honestly. As I looked around, I spotted Stella in the plaza in front of the museum.
やあ、ステラ、
Stella cocked her head.
何をしているんだい？
太陽
She looked up. The sun was indeed shining with scarlet hues in the western skies. However,
よくわからない。
Stella ignored my confused murmurings, her features drawn into a poker face. I'd wanted to question her about the murders, but that probably wouldn't be happening.
レイジ
なんだい？
Though taken aback by how she'd suddenly called my name, I responded as calmly as possible.
これ
She showed me a tiny notepad. A man's face was drawn there.
これは。
書いてみた
へえ、うまいな。結構男前に書いてくれたんだな。
男前
いや、言ってみたかっただけだから。
そう休憩終わりバイバイ
Stella retreated into the museum before I had time to stop her. I still didn't get her. And that's okay. Toko was walking hand in hand with me. Her grip was firm and reassuring. These moments were the only times my heart ever knew peace.
春はいいねトウコ
Toko, behold the cherry trees in bloom above us.
そうねトウコさまざまな生命が息を吹き返す季節だ
Toko looked at me with a smile on her face. That simple sight was far lovelier to me than any cherry blossom in the world. And yet you think you're straight. The little gestures she'd been making as of late drove even the heart of a fellow girl such as myself to skip a beat. I loved how she'd brush up her bangs for a fleeting moment. I loved the way her eyes stared off into the great beyond. I loved her somber countenance. Indeed, she felt quite glamorous. But this wasn't the Toko I'd once known. She wasn't the same Toko I looked up to. She wasn't the same Toko I wanted to become. It was probably, no, definitely Professor Takisaka's fault. He'd been changing my Toko. Toko couldn't be allowed to change. She had to stay herself. She had to remain the Toko I idolized. This couldn't be allowed to continue. If it did, then Toko and I would diverge down completely different roads. And if that happened, then I could never become Toko.
どうしたんだいトウコ
A voice rang out right next to me, catching my attention. Toko was right in my face. Her eyes were looking my way.
なんでもないわトウコ
Her lips were close enough to seal the gap in but a moment. And yet, that was all I said.
なんだか元気がないようだけれど
Toko was concerned about me. She laid her hand upon my forehead. Her touch was cool, like oasis water to a wanderer stranded in the desert. And as someone had once said, those with cold hands had the warmest of hearts.
ねえトウコなんだいトウコは
時坂先生のことが。
I did it. I actually asked her. Toko froze, but I saw it. I saw the way her cheeks flushed for but an instant.
どこ？私と時坂先生はそんな関係じゃないんだよ。
Toko's voice was hardly audible.
じゃあ嫌いなの？そうじゃないんだ。
She denied it.
好きとか嫌いとか二元論で説明できることじゃないんだ。
Worried? So, this actually torments her?
じゃあ私とあの人とトウコはどっちが好きなの？比べられるものじゃないよ。トウコと先生は全く違うのだから。
And she's like, she didn't pick me right away. That means it's him. Toko sadly shook her head like it pained her to discuss the matter.
私にはわからない。
Toko was lying to me. Her heart was already swaying his way. She was only accompanying filth like me for formality's sake.
このままじゃトウコは変わってしまう。トウコ？
I couldn't take it anymore.
このままじゃダメなのよ。トウコには私の気持ちなんてわからないのよ。
Ma'am, I don't think you understand how you feel. I wrenched off Toko's grip.
トウコ。
Toko was left staggering as I speeded away. No, that thing wasn't Toko. That thing wasn't the Toko I wished to become. A Toko who wouldn't look my way was no longer Toko. Jesus. God damn. That happened after I had dinner at home.
兄さん、少々よろしいですか？
どうしたゆかり？
I quickly stubbed out my cigarette.
今日話していたことですけれど、今度綴り子が本を出すのでパーティーを行いたいのですが。
そんなことも言っていたな。まあいいんじゃないのか？
ここでするつもりですが。
構わないさ。他にも来るんだろう？
ええ、そのつもりですが。
よその家に迷惑をかけるわけにはいかないからな。騒ぐならうちでやりなさい。
騒いだりすることはないと思いますよ。
Yukari smiled. I returned to my bedroom and leafed through today's paper as I smoked a cigarette. Yesterday's incident was mentioned, but hardly covered. All the article said was that something believed to be a dismembered corpse had been found. Nothing about the flesh being stuffed in eggs, much less that they were found at Oba Girls Academy. Maybe they hadn't publicized that information on purpose. Poor Psyche must have worked his ass off to make that happen. Probably wanted to protect the students. He didn't want them to suffer the same fate as his daughter. So then, he's just like me, huh? I made a mental note to go back to the school in the morning and tell him what I had discovered. Most of all, I wanted to apologize for prying into his past without permission. Not that I was expecting anything to come of it, of course. I simply knew I wouldn't be able to rest... Shit. I accidentally pressed the button. I get the sentiment, though. He wasn't going to be able to rest easy until he said something. Yeah. Let me see what the full line was. Rest easy unless I... Yeah, okay. I found a note from Yukari on the living room table when I woke up. Apparently she'd left to see a movie with Tochiko, meaning they'd probably gone to Shinjuku. As for me, I decided to pay Oba Girls Academy a visit. When I got to the school, I saw Saiki sweeping up the sidewalk in front of the gate.
おや、時坂先生。
おはようございます、教頭先生。
ええ、構いませんが、場所を変えた方が良さそうですね。
そうですね。
Saiki brought me to the deserted staff room.
わざわざすみません。
時坂先生の表情を伺っていましたら、
ええ。実は教頭先生に謝らなくてはなりません。
何でしょうか。
ここ数日、自分は佐伯先生と間宮心臓について調査していました。
そうでしたか。
その過程で佐伯教頭が娘さんを亡くされていることを知りまして。
ええ、そうです。あまり思い出したくない話題でしたの。
自分も同じです。娘さんと同じ事件で。
Saiki hung his head at that revelation.
申し訳ありませんでした。
I bowed to the older man.
いえ、時坂先生が謝られることではありませんよ。
Saiki comfortingly tapped my shoulder.
隠し通せることではありませんし、隠す意味もないことですからね。
すみません。
Despite his reassurances, all I could do for a while was offer apology after apology. I returned to Kichijoji after apologizing to Saiki. Rows of vibrant accessories adorning the street stalls by the station caught my eye as I passed by. Come to think of it, Tochiko asked me to get her a present, didn't she? Though honestly, I had no idea what she'd want. Tried to use Yukari's taste as a reference, but quickly gave up on that when I realized normal girls were into scarab beetle brooches. Or at least I seriously hope not. It would be best to just pick something at random from one of the stalls and hope for the best.
時坂先生。
おや佐藤さんこんにちは。
ええ、髪留めを探していたんです。
髪留めね。
Seems she really was just like any other girl her age in that regard, despite her short hair.
今、私にはあのようなものの方が似合うと思っていませんでしたか？
I pointed at an antique shop that dealt in swords.
でもそういうのも好きそうだけれどね。
まあ、否定はできませんね。
ちょっとね買い物さ。
時坂先輩。
いやあいつじゃなく。
I decided to bite the bullet and ask Ayumu for
と
advice.
じこよそみやさんになんだがね。
よそ宮先輩ですか？
Ayumu gazed at the merchandise on display at the stalls.
一応俺も教師だからね。そう派手で目立つも。
At that exact moment, I saw a ring that fit the bill perfectly. It looked too pricey, about 5 to 10 yen or
こ
so.
のくらいだったら。
そうですね。先輩だったら喜ぶと思いますよ。
うん。
The ring it was then. I turned to Ayumu and held my hand out to her.
何ですか？
君も髪留めを買うのだろう。一緒に買ってやるよ。
いえ、私は。
そう遠慮しなくてもいいよ。相談に乗ってくれたお礼さ。
そうですか。では、これをお願いします。
Ayumu handed me a tiny flower hair clip. I took it and presented it to the stall
お
owner.
やさん、これを別々の袋に入れてくれ。
毎度あり。
どうぞ、佐藤さん。
God damn. That fucking... The stall owner sounded real fucking ominous. Like, god damn.
毎度あり。
Jesus. Man, it sounds like some fucking, like, oracle to give you a prophecy, and it's just like... It's like... Doesn't sound like someone you'd be working at a stall and be like, oh, thanks, come back soon. It's like, come back soon. It's like, Jesus, dude, I don't want to. I gave the bag with the hair clip to Ayumu.
ありがとうございます、先生。
Ayumu bowed her head in gratitude. Thought I'd spared myself from a round of Tochiko's grumbling. I hoped.